news. We're talking some Lionel Andres Messi and his continued arrival, not just arrival, but just absolute forceful entrance into the US and MLS. He's already won the League's Cup, a US Open Cup final ticket for later in the month. And on Saturday, he has his debut in Major League Soccer against New York Red Bulls. Or does he? Will he play? Well, we have our very own Stephen A. Smith on First Take making his comments if he should play or if he should rest, because it's been a lot of games. Check this out from Stephen A. Smith on First Take.
Should Messi sit out for the match in New York, Stephen A?
What? Of course not. You in America right now, baby. You understand? You don't sit up there and come to America. Just, I understand you want to be at South Beach, and I can appreciate that. In New York City, baby. In New York City, you don't come to America and pass up the opportunity to be exposed in the Big Apple, the Mecca. Absolutely not. Of course he should play in New York.
Stephen A. Smith, I love you, but just an edit. It's Harrison, New Jersey. He would be coming, not New York City. So there's that component. But yes, granted, it's still a massive thing and a lot of pressure for Messi to continue his play. But he's played 8 matches in 32 days for a 36-year-old. I don't care who you are. That's a lot. But MLS begins for Inter Miami on Saturday, and they have a lot to do. So let's just, Dalen, let's just go with you, and then Augie, you chime in. I mean, give me just first, because it's the first time me and you are talking on this, just your reaction to what's been going on with Messi. Unbelievable game after game, whether he scores or creates assists. Inter Miami continue to develop. Give me your thoughts on what's been going on, and also now the odds of Inter Miami maybe making MLS playoffs, because they are bottom of the Eastern Conference, 2 games in hand over 9th place Chicago Fire, but still a lot to do. So welcome. Talk to me about Messi and the odds of what could happen in the future.
Guys, first of all, let's start here. I'm a little frazzled this morning. I didn't see the rundown that Stephen A. When you put it in the chat, then Stephen A., I thought that was a joke. I did not see First Take. Let's just be honest. Don't tune in a lot. Sorry. He's the most highest paid employee we got, but don't lock in a lot. Partially because of that. That rant is just, that's peak him. He has no clue what he's talking about, but he says it with incredible force. And on some regard, I hate this. But you have to agree with him, because LME and Mark, you don't, I don't think you have I don't know how many American friends you have, but explaining to them the difference in competitions and the fact that we've seen Messi play, but he hasn't played in MLS yet. That was like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube for somebody yesterday. Like they couldn't comprehend what's going on, because it's foreign to Americans to have these multiple competitions if you don't follow soccer. And now he has crossed into the Rubicon of just huge sports conversation, hence why they're discussing it on First Take. So all that said, the fact that he's logged all these games, I get it. And I think he has to play in this game because partially, yes, it is Harrison, New Jersey, but still you're going to get the media attention is there. That building is obviously can be live when it is packed, and that will be packed. You want to deliver on this first MLS game. He gets a piece of the subscriptions. Remember these different competitions. We've had some free opportunities to see Messi, and not with the MLS Apple TV Plus package thing going on. So he has a business incentive to make sure he delivers on delivering more subscriptions. So from all these different reasons, I think he needs to play. And last but not least, because they're still in last place in the Eastern Conference. And they still, as LME, as you said, they're 14 points out of that final playoff spot right now. The top 9 teams in the conference make it. They're in 15th. And what he's accomplished to this point is more than I ever thought was possible in terms of one player coming. Now, Busquets, Jordi Alba coming helped as well. Tata Martino, a guy that's exceeded on the highest level. All that helps. But every single player in that uniform has gone from a guy that was looking terrible and struggling, not every guy, but by and large, to playing at their it seems like their peak performance level. It's been remarkable to see what he has lifted, what he's done, and how he's delivered on this stage. But to accomplish this next goal of getting them not just to MLS Cup playoffs, but check this out, guys. I've never seen this too. The fact that what he's done has been wild. The odds, though, before Messi got there, was 100 to win, 1 at Caesars, 100 to 1 on your money. At MGM had him 200 to 1 on your money to win MLS Cup. So they were third longest odds. It's an afterthought. Now they're the third favorite. They're 5.5 to 1. I've never seen that in season. And it's not even in season. It's in like 40 days. Because once the rumor started, the odds started to move, and then he committed, and the odds moved again. And now this run had got to this point. Those are crazy enough because they have to just make the playoffs. But let me add this in this last soliloquy I'm on here. Him to be the Golden Boot winner He's fourth favorite at a number of different books right now at plus 700, 7-1 on your money. He has 0 MLS goals. He hasn't scored in the competition yet. He's 13 behind with 12 games to play. I mean, and now granted, the books are trying to get people to throw money on him. It's just wild what's going on. And the bookmaker's trying to figure this thing out because game to game, he keeps delivering. But when you look at the futures stuff, the futures market is wild.
Can I just say that the one thing that's really struck me, and I saw your interview with Messi LME, and he said how happy he was in Miami and MLS. It's just so good to see Messi enjoying himself again, because not just in Paris, but maybe his last couple of years at Barcelona, he didn't look happy. He didn't look a happy player. He looked like the weight of the world was on his shoulders, that he wasn't enjoying his football. And we still saw those flashes of brilliance, but nothing's going to motivate young kids more watching Messi play than the fact that he's doing it with a smile on his face and he's absolutely loving it. And I think that is the best thing about this, because, you know, it's been 3, 4, 5 years that Messi has really enjoyed himself, and he looks like the kid in the playground again. And that is basically where we all start to play football, isn't it? We all start to learn and love the game by playing in the playground. And any 5, 6, 7-year-old kid in the US who's watching him wants to be like Messi. They want to play like Messi and smile like Messi and have fun like Messi. And that is the biggest thing that he could bring to the game, not just in the US, but everywhere. Because, you know, I didn't expect it to be as successful at this. I thought Messi would maybe pick and choose his games a little bit, and maybe it's been chosen for him for the Red Bulls game. Who knows? But it is fantastic to see one of the world's greatest ever players, if not the greatest ever player, having such fun in MLS. And, you know, look at Cristiano Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia, who, you know, we always compare Messi to Ronaldo. Ronaldo doesn't look like he's enjoying himself in Saudi Arabia. He doesn't. It looks like at times he's frustrated, he's fed up. There's no smile on his face like we see with Messi. And that, again, Messi wins. Messi beats Ronaldo again in a different part of the game, you know. Enjoyment.
You said it, not me, because I always get heat from K. Murray about my bias towards Lionel Messi. And by the way, I'm glad that you mentioned, yes, I had a one-on-one with Lionel Messi. I can officially retire right now. But I think to that point, by the way, Antonella Rocuso deserves a lot of credit, because she was the one that said, Messi, you can go to hell if you think we're going to go to Saudi Arabia instead of Miami to enjoy. But let's go back to the competition at hand in MLS, because they have a Leagues Cup trophy, their first ever for the club. They're in the final of the US Open Cup, the oldest ongoing soccer competition in the US. Dalen, we're going to take a look at this schedule for Inter Miami as they continue this path. All right. So they have the New York Red Bulls on August 26th on Saturday. Then it's in Nashville, at home to Nashville. Then it's a massive game at LAFC and Carlos Vela, that Bank of California Stadium game. And you can read all of them. Then World Cup qualifiers come in. I mean, listen, like, this is difficult for anybody, Dalen, to try and just go from the worst spot in the Eastern Conference to make it into a playoff eligible spot after all this. And by the way, you have to add the World Cup qualifiers, which include going to La Paz, Bolivia, the highest altitude you can ask for. This is a lot going on. What do you expect? How many wins do you see from that schedule? And do you see Messi missing on a few of those games?
I think he has to, guys. I mean, there's a 2-day turnaround from coming back from Bolivia. I think there's things. When I was thinking about this last week, and in all honesty, I mean, you know, the international break is coming from a league perspective, but I didn't know where they were playing. And once you look at South American qualifying, is that it's the hardest region to qualify. You can't sit out those games. So he's got to play those games. And if he straps him on those games, coupled with all that he's done already in the summer in America, the travel hasn't been that bad, but they've competed against some of the better teams that are in that MLS table they're going to be chasing. 3 of the top 4 teams, Cincinnati, Philly, and Orlando, they all beat on that run in the Leagues Cup or the U.S. Open Cup. So they've put together, you know, a good resume to this point. Can you maintain that? And when you add in the travel across America, you've got different places he's going. Some of those venues, most of them all are now natural grass, but there's still you can run into some different surfaces at times. For a 36-year-old, I know he's going to be carrying a lot of a burden, and they have to essentially win, I think, 8 of those final 12 to look like they're going to break over the number. So I think you got to win 8 of them. And when you get that kind of schedule going on, I think they're going to start. We'll start seeing odds for them to qualify for the playoffs. A lot of the bigger books haven't put that on their roster yet, if you will. But I'm interested to see what those numbers are, because I don't want to bet against Messi right now, but I just don't know how his body can hold up through this. And again, it's Busquets or Alba and a lot of guys that are older, and they are still playing in South Florida, what is really freaking hot. And so they're up and through October. So it would be an amazing accomplishment if he not only gets them in, but then they can make a run. But that is a tough road to hoe with different competitions and international play.
Yeah, I was there at that FC Cincinnati game as I've been following him and stuff, and it was very humid. And I tell you, at the end of extra time before the penalties were being taken, he was exhausted. Like he put his hands on his knees and he was exhaling. It was a lot. So I expect Tata Martino to really balance some things. Augie, let me ask you this. Once he's done with all of this, and obviously if they don't make the playoffs, then the season ends a little bit sooner. If they make the playoffs and they make an incredible, almost improbable run to MLS Cup, which will be towards December, then there's a little bit of a break in an off season. What do you think of the chances of somebody like Barcelona coming in and saying, hey, do you want to come on loan for a little bit and help us out over here in Europe? Now, before you answer, Jorge Mas said to me, no way that's happening, but never say never, right? What do you think?
No, I just don't see it. I mean, what does he have to gain by coming back to Europe? I mean, if he comes back to Barcelona in January for 2 or 3 months, what is the point? You know, I think that we have to accept that Messi is now in the US, and he looks happy there, looks content, and he will need the rest. He will need that opportunity to take it easy, because I'm assuming now his focus is purely on 2026. I know he said that he probably won't play in the next World Cup, but I think if he gets that love for the game back in Miami, then I think that the World Cup in 26 will be his target. So if he's going to get there, he needs to look after himself. He needs to conserve his energies and make sure that he rests when he can rest. And it's not the longest, off season in the US. The season starts in March, doesn't it? So, what is the point of going back to Barcelona or to, anywhere in Europe for 2 or 3 months? And enjoy, go back to Argentina, enjoy the kind of Southern Hemisphere summer that he's missed out on for the last 20 years. Just don't see it. Non-starter for me. He stays in Miami and he just rests up and looks after himself.
All right, we have to keep on moving. There's a lot going on. But before we move on to the next topic, yes or no? I don't want anything else. Just a yes or no, okay? Dalen and Augie. Dalen, you first. Inter Miami, are they making the MLS playoffs? Yes or no?
Yes. I don't want to be a curmudgeon. Let's just root for yes. Let's keep it rolling.
Yes.
I love it. The Messi mania is intoxicating everybody, even the pessimist, Mark Ogden. It's amazing.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.